What's up? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Lilo and you're watching HeadBangers Lifestyle. And this is Adrian Vandenberg, a guitarist you probably know from Vandenberg, Whitesnake, Moonkings. He's also a painter. He's done a lot in his life, has a long career, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna do it with this bad boy. It's our black box, and we're gonna see what's in it. So buckle up, let's open the black box and let's talk.
Yeah, ready to open?
Yes.
Dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is how I look best. So, oh wow.
So there's a lot of treasures.
Let's start with one of my shoes when I was a kid.
Well, this
The
is
traditional Dutch wooden shoe called a clog. Like people with clogged arteries, you know, they have those little things in their arteries. So
it's something that is typical Dutch.
Yes.
Foreign people knows us. They think we walk on wooden shoes.
they do.
But it also stands for being a Dutch guy with your 2 feet on the ground. You know, how did that take you through your career? Just being a down-to-earth guy.
That's actually you already said it. That's what took me through my career. You know, it's to me one of the key moments I think that made me realize that that's a thing that can save you your sanity. Basically, is when I was about 14. Roy Gallagher, one of my early heroes, he played in my hometown, and I had been waiting in the pouring rain for about at least an hour because they just did a set, and people who are familiar with Roy Gallagher knows that he puts everything into it. So I was waiting until one of the crew guys said, "What are you waiting for?" I said, "Well, I would like an autograph from Mr. Gallagher." He said, "Oh, you're waiting for this? He would have come out, you know," and within 3 minutes he came out of the dressing room. He didn't give a shit about the rain, you know. He said, "Oh, you play guitar too," blah, blah, whole story. So I thought, wow, you know, and that was actually the first experience, but the second one was a worse one. It was so bad that I can't even remember which guitar player it was, but it was another occasion when it was beautiful weather. And I had asked, the crew guys, like an autograph, so waiting, and it just went straight by, And when I heard one of the crew guys say, "That's the kid, he wants the autograph." Okay, I thought, if I'm ever gonna be a guitar player, that's not the kind of player I want to be.
Yeah.
So also my parents. I mean, it's like with everybody, the way you're raised and stuff, and so it's nothing special to me, but it's clock.
Yeah.
That's basically the spiritual essence of being a human being. If everybody would walk on clogs, especially Trump, it would sober him up a little bit. Clogs.
Clocks. Oh, I think something else you like.
Okay. Oh, well, this was
your very
basically
first album, right? 78.
Yeah, it was. It was actually recorded, I think, in '77, and.
So what refers this in your life? Like, how was that time in your life, being a very young musician, being in art as well?
Yeah, it was my first or second year in art college.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of stuff I made,
yeah.
and to the horror of the teachers, because they were basically into expressionist stuff, and I was a big Salvador Dali fan and American super realist and stuff.
So this was the standard at the time for you, presenting an album cover.
I thought,
cool.
Do something different than everybody does, and I felt pretty lucky because out of all people, a lot of people don't know it. You don't probably even know it. That like everybody else, I went with demos. Record companies. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with kind of rock that I still make and that I love to make, except Peter Koelewijn. And Peter Koelewijn, for people who are not Dutch, he's a legendary Dutch guy who was at the forefront of early rock and roll, like 50s rock and roll, and he had a hit single at Time in Holland, which is a goofy title, Come Down from the Roof, basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said, I like this guy, he's got guts and he wants to make the kind of rock, so we do it. And it was actually the very first album recorded in the Dutch Liselotte studios, where I recorded both of the Moonkings albums too. So it's full circle.
Full circle, right?
And it was the first band I put together myself. I just looked for those guys, and I wanted to be free and bad company. You know, that's what my hero is.
Yeah.
The singer actually looked like him too. So yeah, it's still
It's a good start from your career, I guess. This one.
Yeah, I think so. You know, because it led from one thing to another. In England, it was released on the Vertigo label. Now this isn't the label, but in England, one of my favorite bands in those days is Thin Lizzy. They were on the Vertigo label as well. And so one time in the middle of the night, my mom got called out of her bed by the manager from Thin Lizzy, asking if I wanted to come over to audition.
Yeah.
So I bought my first pair of leather pants because I thought, hey, you gotta look cool, you know, it's a rock band too. So, and my first flight.
Yeah.
And many more to come. But I stayed there for about a week and a half or something, and I decided to, actually advised by the manager of Thin Lizzy, to finish my high school because the guys were not in a great phase as far as, you know, Phil Lynott was not in great health, and using all kinds of stuff that are not very good for the human body.
No, so...
And spirit.
So that was a reason not
Yeah.
to go with that.
Which was pretty hard, you know. I talked to my dad about it for hours and stuff, and those are decisions that you have to try to be smart, you know, and be more sensible than let your enthusiasm win.
Yeah.
So that's
but
it.
do you regret?
No. The funny thing is that after me, they got John Sykes in, and I followed John Sykes and Whitesnake, so it's
kind
another
of a
circle type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All good circles though.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well,
I can grab again.
take a pick.
Well, I'll just pick the first one.
Yeah.
Whoa! Now with this one.
There,
This is probably my all-time hero, Jimi Hendrix, and not just because of his amazing guitar playing, but he was definitely my first guitar hero. I remember when I was young, I had a lot of migraine headaches and stuff, and sometimes I was in bed for a full day. I like to tell myself that it was because I had too many brains and they were pushing against my skull, but I don't think that was really the reason.
No.
I remember laying in bed with migraine, and The Wind Cries Mary was on the radio, and I thought, wow. And that's still one of my favorite all-time favorite songs, and up to this day I'm still a huge Hendrix fan, and not only because his playing was so great, but also because he really changed everything, you know, for guitars. Every guitar player with a little bit of knowledge of history knows about what he changed, you know, as far as guitar effects goes. And I'm not a big effects guy, you know, I don't use a lot on my guitar, but he did. And one of my all-time favorite blues solo is the solo on the song Red House, blues song. That's got everything in just maybe 15 seconds that a great blues solo should have. It's got melancholy, it's got attitude, it's got sex, it's got tonal choice, it's got the sound. And
complete package.
Complete package.
Yeah.
And he was the man with the complete package. I mean, showman, soul, rock, jazz, everything was in it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So big influence.
Yeah,
Yes. And you mentioned blues actually as well. What did blues do for you, or still does?
Everything, yeah. So, so, definitely, and it has to do with Hendrix, of course, also. But when I was starting out, and it goes for a lot of players, I suppose, a lot of rock players too, is that when you want to start playing electric, blues is doable. You know, it's because it's not too complicated to start making simple solos over it, because you can basically stick to 5 notes and or something. And what I realized at an early stage is that the big blues guys, such as the Three Kings, B.B. King, Freddie King, and Albert King, there are so much power and expressions in the same note that every guy plays on a street corner or in a cafe or whatever. And it showed me that expression is, for me, is everything. I'd rather play a wrong note with conviction than the right note. Oh, it's the right note, fits in scale and stuff, you know. So that's another thing that made Hendrix so great, because it's all expression, you know, and he had a combination with choice of notes as well. But yeah, definitely blues, and I still listen a lot to blues. But yeah, after Stevie Ray Vaughan, it got a little stale because there's a lot of great blues players who are basically emulating Stevie Ray Vaughan to my ears. I mean, I'm not a specialist. I'm just starting, you know. I don't know anything about guitar, but to me, that's it, you know. It's Stevie Ray had everything too for a blues player. He had the rhythm. He didn't even need a rhythm section. He just he had such a groove in his playing, and he's one of the very few guys that does a cover for Little Wing, one of the most beautiful songs of all time, in my opinion. But what do I know? I mean, I cringe when I hear Sting rip through Little Wing. I go, come on, man, please, you know.
But everybody makes mistakes.
That was a serious one, but you know, Stevie Ray put like a Texas groove in it without destroying the romantic vibe, you know, and that's quite an achievement, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
So let's see.
Dive in.
Well, this is a logical
as well.
thing after what we just talked about. This is Manic Eden album. That's another band that I put together actually with Tommy Aldridge and Rudy Sarzo that I played for years in Whitesnake with. Around this time too, because David Coverdale was going to do a record with Jimmy Page, and we didn't want to sit on our asses, so we put this band together with singer Ron Young from Little Caesar, and I think, you know, this is one of the records that I'm still really proud of because it's got a lot to do with blues, but still some twists to it, and Ron's voice fit perfectly with what we wanted to do, and unfortunately, we had tours planned and everything. It ended up with David and Jimmy Page. It ended up being just a couple of gigs in Japan, and they were basically going to plan, like a year-long tour.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Why? So suddenly, I don't know.
Oh, there's no reason particular.
Well, there's probably a reason, but I don't know about it. No. It's, so then David called, and it was really hard for me to let this go. But at the time, I thought I joined as a lot of people know, I joined Whitesnake when the '87 album, the big album, was almost finished except Here We Go Again, so I played on that one. Then with the Slip of the Tongue album, I had a wrist problem. Yeah. So we got Steve Vai in, who played brilliant guitar, of course. I mean, he always plays brilliant, but I hate the guy. Now he's brilliant, you know. And that was frustrating, as everybody can imagine, you know. So then when David suddenly called, I thought, oh geez, man, I got to leave this baby behind, which was really, really hard, because I thought, if I'm not gonna do that again, I've been in this whole period with Whitesnake and never played on an album apart from Here We Go Again, you know. Yeah. So that was really hard, and I had to do it, you know. Yeah. And fortunately, Rudy joined too, you know, but still a great album.
It's one of, you did the artwork, right?
Yes, and that was completely different as
that one.
Yeah, there were a bunch of years in between, and in my mind it kept evolving, and I knew that, but I didn't have time to, you know, I scrambled a little bit on pieces of paper on hotel walls and stuff, and which wasn't very appreciated by the staff of the hotels. But maybe in about 100 years they can sell it for that money. But to my surprise, when I started again, it ended up being this style. Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of people on some field can relate to it, where, you know, like for instance, when you go to bed, not necessarily with somebody, but alone, and there's things going on in your mind, and the next morning you wake up and you have a thought that you didn't have the day before. So imagine when there's a lot of years in between. Basically, artistically, I woke up after all those years, and then this came out of it, you know. Yeah. I was more surprised than anybody, because I didn't like this style when I was at art college, because I was into the realistic stuff.
Yeah, and but this is more Dali, surrealistic, or what is it?
No, this is more expressionist and almost abstractish, and that is very realistic.
Yeah, realistic. So. But what style are people recognize you now? Today?
Painting-wise, you mean?
Painting-wise,
yeah, yes. It's more along the lines of this kind of stuff, because as long as my life is a chaos, my painting is chaotic too.
Ah, okay, yeah. Well,
I guess so. Later when I'm grown up, I probably paint landscapes with little cows in it and naked women running around. I don't know. We'll see. So then we have. This one. Oh yeah, then this one.
Yeah, that's also 1980.
This was 1981. We made this one in Jimmy Page's studio. So Jimmy Page
how was that for a young artist? Yeah, young guitarist.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Going there like.
I never forget Jimmy landing on. He bought a studio in England, and the second day we were there, he landed with a helicopter on the lawn. And out came Jimmy Page. That was Jimmy fucking Page, Yeah. And to my shock, he was as tall as I was, and I could have known because once I knew on the pictures, a Gibson Les Paul guitar looks as small as it does on my body. And I met Jimmy Page, in his studio and stuff. So that was amazing, and we recorded the album really quickly, pretty much live, in about a week and a half or something.
Was it like a budget, because of a budget, or?
Well, also because we didn't know any other way, we just. Because the teaser album was recorded in 3 days or something, and I did have quite a lot of studio experience by then because it is some session work and stuff. But still, we had the demos that we made at such a strong vibe that I had enough experience to realize, let's not over polish it and just bam, throw it down. And so some of the songs are actually a little faster than I had in my mind when I wrote them, but it's got a vibe, And the vibe is everything because you can't buy a vibe.
True.
So it
good worked. Memories.
Yeah, great memories because the goofy thing was we were for a young Dutch band to get signed to Atlantic, the American Atlantic label, by Phil Carson, the guy who worked with Led Zeppelin, he signed AC/DC and stuff. So I was pretty much in awe. And they released Burning Heart as the first single in the United States, and it became a hit single. To the shock of Atlantic themselves, because they didn't do anything promotionally, but it just started. So, which was basically a killer for the second album, because they thought, it's going to go by itself, So they didn't do anything for the second album either. So they didn't do as well as the first one in the States, but in other countries. But in Japan, actually, it did. But great memories because we toured with Ozzy Osbourne in America and with Kiss.
Yeah, great guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was quite an adventure.
All right.
Little did I know that 30 years later, the bass player and the drummer sued me because they wanted to own my name, Vandenberg. Even though my dad walked around with Vandenberg T-shirts, they thought the Vandenberg name was theirs too. So it was a long court case, six court cases and stuff, and. Strangely, they didn't win. That's weird, isn't it? When you try to steal somebody's name that you didn't win. I don't understand. But anyway, that was a little bit of a hangover, but still great times.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Other interesting. Oh yeah. Here. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
The Whitesnake Slip of the Tongue album.
Yes.
With Lilo's phone number. I'm gonna put it on my Facebook page.
Really
Call Lilo for a wild night. It says, call Lilo for a wild night when her husband isn't home.
Well, actually, this is my...
Country code is 0031.
I have no idea who that is, but this is my old ticket as well from that
that's cool.
Masters of Rock show. Yeah. So you were on that tour.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And this is the album, that probably changed a lot in your life, I
guess.
It
did, yeah, definitely.
And there's now a 30 years anniversary as well. So what did this do, plus this tour, to your life? I mean, how do you look back on it?
Well, first we had an amazing tour, of course, with the 1987 album. And the tour that was going to last 2 months turned into a 1.5 year tour all over the world and stuff. So then when we started on the Slip of the Tongue album, David put a lot of film footage with a package where you can see the rehearsals and stuff, and where we were playing with Rudy, Tommy, me and David basically. And so that gives an impression on how the album was supposed to be. But since my wrist messed up, like I said before, we got Steve Vai and he put his stamp on it, and rightfully so, because a lot of people said, well, he doesn't fit with Whitesnake, or maybe not, but it's an interesting discussion, because you ask somebody to join the band, and logically he puts his style on it, so that's something that you would know beforehand, you know. But anyway, it was a fantastic time, great tour. Galgenwaard was one of the highlights of my life, basically, because all my friends and my family, my dad was still alive, and my mom was there, and my sister, her brother, who've never been at a rock concert. All my friends were there. It was a beautiful summer night, as you remember. The whole stadium went berserk. David drank, coming back to the little wooden shoe. I had a bet going with David, I don't even remember what it was, but he said, if you win, me, I'm going to drink champagne on stage out of a wooden shoe. And he did. Do you remember?
No, I can't remember that actually.
He did, he owned up, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the bet was, but it was pretty funny.
Alright.
Great tour, incredible memories. I still have, I mean, great contact with Steve, via. A lot of people think we didn't get along, we got on great. And we're still in touch. We had a, 2 years ago we saw each other, great time. Always good. Rudy and Tommy, good friends.
Nice. Goody good.
So then...
Let's move on. Moonkings. Yeah. 5-year Moonkings and 2 albums.
3 actually, acoustic one as well.
That's right. Yes, but 2 long players.
So yeah, I mean...
And now the tour. Temporary...
this is a goodbye for now tour, which gives us all time to do a couple of other things. I'm working on the next album already with a new, yet still secret thing that it's gonna. And Mart already had a band right now already for 14 years or something, and they want to put some time in that too. Jan, as our singer, as a lot of people may know, he has got a huge farm company, and he's really busy with it, which is why we couldn't do as much international touring as we would have liked to, and we had to, decline a bunch of offers, which was kind of a pity for this band. But that's why we decided it would be good to put it in the fridge for a while and all do our stuff. And
but so far, how do you experience your moments with Moonkings?
Great, and as everybody who's seen shows of us, I don't know if you've seen us yet. No, probably not.
I think from a tour. Yeah.
There's such a great vibe in this band. I really, really enjoy playing in this band. Sam and Mart, the drummer and the bass player, I discovered them in a talent contest in my hometown when they were both 14, and they are already amazing at that age. So we ended up in this band. I ran into them 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're amazingly talented. So is Jan, So yeah, we have a special thing going.
So there might be a future. Getting back together.
Yeah.
Probably.
So now we're going to do other stuff. And
then, just some fresh air.
We'll see Rubinho.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then let's see what we have more. Well, we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about
already.
that. So there you go. Yes.
Yeah, did it already, and then
so we know all about that.
This is Lilo's telephone. Call me.
Very old.
I'm Lilo. Again, she really wants to be called.
Again. No, you're very active on social media, something we didn't have in the 80s.
No.
I mean, so what do you like about the social media? What do you see as the benefits, and what do you don't like about it?
Well, when we started playing, I was a little hesitant because the next day somebody posted on YouTube or whatever, so you better make sure you got your shit together, which I don't always have, Like yesterday, I didn't have a great night, and bam, next morning it's on YouTube because, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes the sound on stage isn't really that great. Like when I play acoustic, when I can't hear the acoustic guitar very well, then I have a tendency to hit the strings too hard, and then it doesn't sound right, and then I have fuck-ups and stuff. That shit happens, which is fine, but I had to get used to it when we started out, and that's all good. And I mainly like to goof around on social media a little bit.
You Twitter a lot, I see.
Well, I basically put the same message on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. I think it's really good because you can get stuff out. There have been quite a lot of people discovered through YouTube, like great singers, guitar players, whatever, So it's much more easier, so to speak, to get discovered. At the same time, there's so many, that you get an overload of great singers, girls, guys, you know. Boom.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you really have to stand out, or you have to be lucky that somebody, you know, runs into it, because everybody and his grandma puts it on YouTube. So there are a lot
of stars on YouTube. But do you show a lot of your private life or emotions?
No, not really. Well, no, emotions probably a little bit for people who read between the lines.
Yeah.
But very occasionally I put like a picture with my mom, who's 94, so it's die hard. And my daughter a little while ago, she's actually staying at David Coverdale's son in LA since about a month and a half. She's postponed her way back already 2 times. She's having a great time, you know, she's basically doing what her dad used to do. But you know, I really,
but you keep private and
quite a lot.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Unlike you, because it says call me, you know.
How you have my number?
There's one thing, a meltdown.
Yeah, it's like a compilation video.
Oh yeah.
Videotape, cassette tape, videotape from the old days.
Yeah.
And there you are with your big hair and
you
know all the other famous bands, Bon Jovi at the time, Kiss, roaring 80s, roaring 90s. I was wondering how wild was it at the time, and how do you feel about the friendship in general, meeting so many people, and how true are friendships as an artist?
Well, the way you started out, actually, being like pretty well grounded as a Dutch person, for me it was pretty easy. In respect to, I've met so many people that I still look up to, but I always appreciate it or you know, respect it a lot. Like guys like Brian May, the Aerosmith guys, everybody. I mean, the Van Halen guys, you get to meet everybody, and it confirmed to me that real big stars, with a couple of exceptions, but most of them, the guys are musically really good, rarely have an attitude, and that's very interesting. It's usually the guys with an attitude, they're usually the not so talented guys who had a stroke of luck with a couple of hit singles or whatever. And that's one of the first things I realized when Whitesnake, when we broke #1s all over the world and stuff, that you meet all these people and they sit in the first row if you play in a stadium or whatever. You go, oh man, there's Bruce Springsteen sitting there. But you know, that's intimidating. But like I said, you really get like a backstage view of personalities that confirmed a lot to me of what I already suspected. But it's interesting to see it confirmed, you know.
Were those times really wild as...
Yes, they were.
They were.
They were very wild.
And
but
you did as well?
Well, I actually, it sounds kind of boring, but I always stayed away from drugs, which I advise everybody, because I have a great life already. What would I want to have more than I already have? So why fuck it up with drugs and stuff? You know, I love good wine. But before a show I never drink, after a show rarely, which is not, you know, so I'm not wild in that respect, because I get my rocks off on stage, you know, and it sounds boring maybe, but I like to party a lot, but not with drugs.
No, smart.
And a lot of people try to lure me in, like in the Whitesnake days, the other guys, when I joined the band, all have been very successful in bands before, and they all of them had that period. I never did, because in the Vandenberg days I was like a schoolboy, I didn't even drink. That's why a friend of mine called me Jack Lammers. Als je Fanta Berg. Fanta is like a Dutch, like a Dutch
soda, right?
Soda, like Coca-Cola type of thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't drink in those days. I started really late, and I love a good wine, like I said. But
Oh, smart. You're still here, so that's good.
Yeah, no, I'm boring, you know, in that respect. In other respects, maybe not. I'll leave it up to the imagination of the viewers.
Well, we still have
there's one more thing.
Three thingies.
I'm not getting old, I'm getting better.
What do you think about that?
Is it a penis? What is it? Oh no. From the back it looks like a male reproduction. I thought, what am I getting here? I thought, glow. But anyway,
that's your imagination.
Yeah, getting old. I look as a privilege, you know.
Yeah.
If you have the privilege of growing older in relative health, and I'm a lucky bastard because you know, I never have a physical problem. Like I said, my mom is 94, she doesn't have a problem either, so the genes are there. And to me, which may sound kind of boring to a lot of people, but I think when you lead a privileged life, like I live my passions and my hobbies, which I consider a privilege, I also think it brings a responsibility with it towards other people who are also talented and play 10 times better than I do, you know, even though I don't believe in better or something, but I do believe in a certain responsibility. If you're fortunate to have been blessed with a couple of talents, then you shouldn't fuck it up. That's the simple message, basically. So, I take that seriously. And
but you still, do you feel that you're still getting better as an artist, as a guitar player?
Well, yeah, I think so. I still try to get better, you know, get my technique better, and not necessarily in skills, but when I have a guitar in my lap, I always like to just mess around, and when I run into something interesting, I think, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to try to remember that. What did I do? I mean, a lot of old solos, if I listen to it, I think, geez, how the fuck did I get that, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes if I want to figure it out, I really have to think hard. I think, what did I do? Why did I do that? Interesting. Yeah. So it's a learning thing, you know. And I really, by the time you think you know everything, you might as well fall over, because one thing I realized, and I remember reading it when I was a kid, that the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything, basically, you know. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I really realize a lot, you know, and it makes your life really interesting if you're open to new experiences, new musical experiences, because at home, you know, the kind of rock that I love to play is not really the kind of rock that I play all the time at home, neither on the guitar nor on my speaker system, you know. I love to listen to gypsy music, to classical, to blues, to jazz, whatever I'm in the mood for. And I think it really gives you perspective on, as far as trying to express what you want to express.
Yeah, of course.
So,
so
in the words of Kyle Appel, one of my favorite painters, I just goof around and see what happens. That's basically the story of my life.
All right.
And then afterwards I clean up the mess, which is usually a lot of work.
Okay.
So yeah.
Just a small one, maybe those two.
Oh yeah.
If you like.
I looked up.
Just
Judas Priest.
Yeah, this is one of my personal first concerts where
I've never seen them live.
84, but it was 84. Yeah, but I was wondering, what was your first concert where you went to, and what?
That was the Dutch band Focus, and that was for people who are familiar with Focus. The guitar player Jan Akkerman was a big influence on me at the time. He was light years ahead. As far as his choice of notes, his technique and everything. I remember going there with a couple of friends. We were probably about 15 or something, and they were playing in my hometown, and we came early because we wanted to sit at the front of the stage. And I was looking at the guy, I thought, oh geez man, that is ridiculous, you know, it's so intimidating. Like guys like Hendrix and Clapton, I could follow what they were doing, but with Jan, he was so ahead of his time. Which at the same time is so inspiring, because you think there's so much more than when I was 14 or 15, those blues things, as good as and interesting as they are, but it definitely broadened my musical horizon, and it was loud, geez. And one of the most impressive things was that Jan's father, I think, had a metal scrap yard or something like that. I remember him carrying you know, Leslie boxes, of course. It's like one of the big cabinets for Hammond organs with one of those revolving speakers. I saw Jan's dad walk on stage, because we came early, walk on stage and put down this Leslie speaker he carried by himself as a guy like this.
Wow.
If you look at Jan, you know, he's got these pretty big arms and big hands and stuff, and so it's in his genes probably. And also, you know, his dad came up with this big Fender speaker cabinet just by himself. I thought, oh man.
Was that something that made you realize, oh, I want to really be on stage as well?
I knew that already then, yeah, because when I was 13, when I still lived in Rotterdam, I had the first really lousy band together, but at the time, you know, when you're that age, you think it's great, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad there's no recording. Well, I'm not glad, I would have loved to hear a recording of it, but it's probably going to be dreadful, but definitely we played on stage at school parties and stuff, and a local thing and whatever, and that's actually how it started, you know, and then you that's all you want to do, basically, you know? And it's still all I want to do. Yeah. And then, you know, a lot of other things, but this is the main thing.
Yeah, be on stage.
When I'm on stage with these guys, I'm the happiest 6'7" fucker on the planet, you know?
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds
for the gig.
Yeah, well, there's one thing left, and then we're out of it.
A blank paper.
Exactly.
The memoirs of me. My life is a blank.
You already mentioned in the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that you have other plans right now. So is there anything you really have in mind for the future, what you want to do?
Oh, yeah.
Options?
This is symbolizing my future.
Yes. What's next?
Well, yeah, the thing that I can't reveal yet, but will be out around this time next month.
Okay.
There's a reason that we can't really talk about it yet, but it's going to be fine. I really want to do a lot more international touring. That's an important reason for me to start with that, you know. And I don't really. I'm not a very good long-time planner. Otherwise, my life would have been totally different. When I finished art college, I was art teacher at high school for about a year, I think, painting, drawing, art history and all that stuff, and I liked it, but I realized that's not what I really want to do, you know, and then I just threw myself into music and painting and everything, and I've always been able to get by one way or another, and that's actually the story of my life. And like I said before, I make a big mess, and then afterwards I try to clear it up, or to zigzag in between the rubbles, and so far so good.
So far so good. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see what the future will be.
Yeah, you'll know pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being at HeadBangers Lifestyle here.
My pleasure.
All right, and thank you guys for watching HeadBangers Lifestyle.
Yeah, all those naked girls back there. Thank you guys for coming down.
Please like this video if you like it. Subscribe to our channel, and we see you the next time.